And thank you for coming to my presentation on dry cleaning and laundry rules. This should be a very educational speech for my LTEC Summer 2014 class. Now, just to get started, how many of you wear clothes on a daily basis? Great. And how many of you spend a lot of money on your clothes? And so, how many of y'all know the difference between dry cleaning and laundry?
We don't know much about it.
Okay, well, great. Then this should be very informative for you. Okay, now why should you even be here listening to this presentation? Because clothes are expensive. You don't want to ruin your expensive clothes. Dry cleaning is expensive. If you can launder something, why dry clean it? Looking sharp is priceless. And I'm sure y'all have many questions on the chemicals we use when dry cleaning, and you have questions about the different machines we use for dry cleaning and laundry. Also, I'm sure you don't even know the prices of how much dry cleaning and laundry costs, so today you'll find out all that information. Okay, now just a little information about dry cleaning. Dry cleaning uses chemicals to clean clothes. Later on in this presentation, I'll go more in depth on the type of chemicals different dry cleaners use. Some are eco-friendly and some aren't. Some companies use PERC, which isn't good for the environment, and some companies use DF2000, which is good for the environment. Now laundry. Laundry you can even do at your house. It's just soap and water. You can use it on your regular washing machine that you have at your house, hence just the plain water picture. Now this is an example of a dry cleaning machine. As you can tell, it's much larger than a machine you would ever have in your house because it's used for bulk loads. Mainly when you drop off your clothes to the dry cleaners, they separate your colors in between darks, lights, and then whites. Of course, you don't want your whites to get ruined or dingy. And then this is an example of a laundry machine. You'll see these at like washaterias and so forth. This is what you put your undies in, basically, or your inside shirts and stuff. Anywho, so to get started, the first thing you do is you gather all the clothes you need cleaned throughout the week. And you should always take your clothes to the cleaners weekly because once it piles up, your bill will be extremely expensive. Trust me, I know. And then the employee at the cleaners will take down your phone number and the number of garments you have. They will also separate it in between dry cleaning and laundry. Most of the employees are trained to know the difference between dry cleaning and laundry, so your clothes will be in great hands. Most importantly, they'll take down your name so that when you come in to pick your clothes up, they know who to give them to. Okay, so separating laundry and dry cleaning can be somewhat tricky, as we all know. What is dry cleaned? What's laundered? Who even knows? A good rule to follow is almost anything can be dry cleaned, but almost nothing can be laundered. Trust me, you don't want your silk blouses in the laundry, ladies. And separating the clothes is important in order to avoid damages, especially when you have sequins on. I can tell by you, Pat, that you wear a lot of sequins.
Yes, I do.
Okay, next when you have your clothes at the cleaners, the employee will tag it. At this point, you've left the cleaners and it's up to the cleaners to make sure that all your garments are tagged. Tagging is very important so that you don't lose a garment. Each piece is entered into the different computer software. It really just depends on the type of cleaners you have. So what they do is they'll have like a gun or a stapler and they'll like tag a garment, usually on the label so it doesn't mess with the fabric. If this step is missed, many clothes will go missing, and that's never a good thing. Okay, after we've tagged our clothes, separating the colors is a very important task. You must always separate darks and lights. Everyone knows that. That's a rule you learn as a child. Whites must always be cleaned on their own, or else reds and whites will turn your white shirt pink. Anything with sequins or fancy material must be separated in a bag in the machine and always put inside out so that your beads don't keep clinking around in the machine. Okay, now this is an example of different materials that should always be dry cleaned. Silk, linen, suede, leather, nylon, spandex, fur, and polyester are almost always dry cleaned. And when you do go to the cleaners, you will also notice an upcharge on your silk clothes. Also, leather is very, very expensive to clean. Most cleaners will send it off property to get cleaned. You're looking at about $70 just to clean that leather jacket of yours. Now laundry, it's very, very straightforward. 100% cotton can be laundered. That includes these denim jeans that I'm wearing right now, as well as button-up shirts, aprons, and lab coats. So all you doctors, make sure that you're laundering your lab coats. Next, after we've done all the separating of the garments and made sure all the sequins are separate as well as the whites, we move on to the bagging and assembling. This is after the whole cleaning procedure. I'll have my special guest later tell you more about the actual cleaning procedure. So bagging and assembling is actually very stressful, way more stressful than you would ever think. Because if the number doesn't match the ticket, everyone goes crazy looking for a piece of clothing. So each ticket is compiled when we tag the clothes, and the ticket has, usually you can only put 12 garments per package in order for the clothes not to get wrinkled. That's very important. Okay, so 12 items are allowed to be bagged in the same bag in order to avoid wrinkles. This is the time where you find out if a piece did not get tagged and you must hunt it down. After they've been bagged and they're all ready to go, that is when we place them on the conveyor. I'll show you pictures of conveyors later on. Everyone wants one in their closet. So the clothes will be placed on the conveyor, and the customer, you have a question, ma'am?
Yes, I have a question. So if a garment is lost,
Yes.
how can you trace it?
Well, usually, if we're lucky at the cleaners, there'll be one piece left over, and we know that belongs to the package that it has the missing
But
item.
the package have, is it a dress or is it a blouse
Yes.
or what color it
Yes,
is?
definitely. When we're tagging the items, the employee is in charge of inputting if it's a pant, a sweater, a dress, and the color in order to identify the piece in case something got lost in all this mix. Any other questions? Okay. So, once the customer is ready to pick up their clothes, they'll just hand you that ticket that you made them at the beginning. This is the ticket that has their name, their number, and the number of pieces that they dropped off. Having the number of pieces they dropped off is imperative in this process because sometimes people think they dropped off more than they did, and they'll try to get your money for it. Okay, so the customer will come, you'll get the item, you'll search for their name on a rack, and you will pull out their clothes from the number that's on the conveyor. Most likely the customer will inspect their clothing and make sure that it's up to their standards, and then they pay obviously, and then they're out the door. So that's basically the whole process once you bring your clothes to the cleaners. Moving on. So now I'm going to have my special guest, Charlie Patel, come up to the stage in order to talk about the different machines, materials, and the whole actual cleaning and pressing process. This is important for you to all understand.
Hi, how are you? Like Trisha
So
explained.
why don't you explain something about yourself and why you would be explaining the cleaner's tool?
Okay, I've been in the dry cleaning business for 27 years, and I'm here to explain to Trisha and all of you just a little bit about the equipment and the process of the dry cleaning.
Great.
Okay.
So let's get started with dry cleaning.
Okay, there are basically two different methods of dry cleaning, like you mentioned earlier, an eco-friendly way and an uneco-friendly way, which is the better process, obviously the eco-friendly method. The environmentally friendly method uses a solvent called perchloroethylene, which most cleaners are now getting away from, and the government has come in with regulations to try to get rid of that solvent. Most cleaners now have gone on to a hydrocarbon chemical product by ExxonMobil called DF2000, which is biodegradable, doesn't smell, it's clear, and it's much safer for the environment.
Great. So So, which of these machines would you use, like once you're putting it in the machine, just for the audience to know since they don't have much knowledge on the information?
Okay, once the, like you explained, all the garments are separated and everything, they will be going into a machine like this, which is the dry cleaning machine. This machine will actually dry clean the clothes, also remove the stains, but there is some pre-spotting needed if necessary. We can do that prior to putting it in the dry cleaning machine. This machine will not only dry clean it, but it will also dry it in the same sequence of program cycles.
Does anyone have any questions on that?
Yeah, I do. Of course you do. What is wet cleaning? We don't know anything about wet cleaning.
I'll get to that later on. But once we've cleared all these other third type of dry cleaning process that has come with the technology of today.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
I'm a pilot and I always have ink stains on my shirt. How do you get those ink stains out?
Okay, we have special chemical agents and pre-spotting agents that are specifically geared towards removing ink stains.
So when do you take the ink stains out? Before cleaning or after cleaning?
Prior to putting it into the dry cleaning machine.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Great question, sir.
Okay. Once the garments are taken out of the dry cleaning machine, it will go into different areas. Depending on what kind of a garment it is, it will go into dry cleaning finishing presses, and they will all be pressed on these utility presses, what we call them. And every garment will be hand finished with a steam iron. And the steam iron will have a silicone shoe, so that will avoid any damage or fringing of any fabrics. And once the garments are pressed, they will actually go onto the racking, bagging and assembling area, like Trisha explained to you, to sort out the clothes to the customers' orders and then onto the conveyor.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. So I have kids that I bring in my car, and so how can I just drop it and just leave?
Okay, well definitely. If you just call us beforehand, we can always come to your car, take out the clothing. We'll just quickly in the store, I'll write down the number of pieces you had, your last name and your phone number. Usually we do this for regular customers, so I would probably just search your name since you're a regular customer. I'd bring back your ticket to your car. Same goes for when you're picking up your clothes. If you just call me beforehand, I'll have your package ready to go. I'll just come to your car with your clothes, get your credit card, and you'll be good to go. That way you don't have to leave your kids in the car by yourself.
Thank you.
Okay, so now that the dry cleaning side of the process has been done, the other end of the dry cleaners is laundry. Now in the laundry, we will not be using as big a machine as a dry cleaning machine. We will be using smaller machines such as this one and this one, just to wash your clothes in regular water with just regular industrial soaps and detergents. Once they're washed, they will actually be processed and pressed while they're still wet in machines like these that will actually press the shirts while wet and finished at the same time.
So I just want to let y'all know that they can be on the machine while still wet. I know most people wouldn't think that. Yes, ma'am.
When I iron at home, I use spray starch. What do you use?
We also use a starch, but it's a little bit different from the spray starch you might use at home. We use a liquid starch that is actually pumped into the washer, and the fabric absorbs the starch in the washing process.
Also, when it comes to starch, I did forget to mention that when you bring in your laundered clothes, we will ask you what type of starch you like. There's 4 different options. You can either get no starch, light starch, medium starch, or heavy starch. It really just depends on you which preference you prefer. Usually people do choose light starch, but a lot of people do like medium and heavy starch. It just makes your clothes a little bit stiffer so that they don't wrinkle as quickly, and some people just prefer it to be like that because they like the texture of it.
Okay, now I wanted to mention a third type of process called wet cleaning.
This is a newer type.
This, with new technology, with new soaps, new machinery and everything, we are now able to wet clean in water it's called wet cleaning. It's basically all of your dry cleaning garments that would be dry cleaned in this machine can also be washed, specifically because of specialty detergents, conditioners that we now have. So your suits, even your wools and silks can also be washed, and they'll come out beautiful.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. Is it going to be washed in a solution,
No.
or is it going to be washed
No, it
in
is
water?
it's gonna be washed in water.
So
That's
how
why we call
come-
it wet cleaning.
Okay, so what will stop it from shrinking?
Okay, now that the thing that stops it from shrinking, first of all, let me back up a little bit. What's going to stop the garments from bleeding, which is dyes fading and all of that, it's the soaps and the new detergents. They will stop them from bleeding. But now to your question about what's going to stop them from shrinking is specialty dryers. They call dehumidified dryers. They will actually, there are sensors in the machine that will sense the moisture in your fabric. So the machine will automatically stop at a certain moisture. There will be no shrinkage. Shrinkage happens when your clothes are being dried in very hot air. And that's, these sensors are going to stop that from happening.
So which one is better, the DF2000 that you just mentioned or the wet cleaning?
Right now, the way technology is going and everything, most of the dry cleaners are slowly going to go to more and more wet cleaning. Because what's happening now is the dry cleaning solvents are getting more and more expensive. The government's stepping in, levying a very high tax on all of the solvent that we buy. So, you know, wet cleaning is eventually going to end up being cheaper, and we don't have to increase our prices on our garments, on the price we charge for wet cleaning.
So it would be
hopefully-
cheaper than the solvent.
Exactly. So
Water is
hopefully the time will come where we mainly do wet cleaning in order to save us all some money.
That's correct.
Thank you, sir. Thank you
And
so
it is
much.
so much safer.
Thank you for your information.
You're welcome.
Okay. Now, remember when I was talking about that conveyor that we all want in our closet? Well, these are just images of conveyors that we have in our store. They have 1,000 slots. So for you ladies who have a lot of clothes, even for you men with all your uniforms, sir, you will have tons of space in your closet. Most people don't do this, but that's just a fun little idea. Okay? Now, does anyone have any questions about dry cleaning, laundry, wet cleaning, chemicals, machines, materials, anything of the sort?
So material like silk, will it be better in a dry cleaning DF2000 that you mentioned or a wet cleaning? Wet cleaning or dry cleaning a silk blouse in a DF2000?
I would recommend doing the wet cleaning just because it is a little bit more delicate for your silks and everything like that.
So is there a lot of cleaners that will provide that?
Right now at the moment, not too many cleaners have that wet cleaning process. There's only a few select cleaners that have that, so right now they're able to just upcharge it a little bit since they are rare to find.
And the one you are talking about, that cleaners has it?
Yes, ma'am. Anyways, do we have any other questions? Mr. Pilot, Mrs.
No,
Housewife,
I think-
Mrs. Sequence?
This is so.
No, I got my answers.
Great. Well, now we're going to play a fun little game on should this item be dry cleaned or laundered. We're just going to keep it simple with dry cleaning and laundered. We're going to not worry too much about wet cleaning right now since not all the cleaners offer it at the moment. So, I'm going to have all these different pieces of items. My marker. And now for our fun laundry and dry cleaning game. Y'all are going to tell me if this item should be dry cleaned or laundered. We're not going to worry about wet cleaning right now since not all the cleaners offer it. So these white 100% cotton shorts, should they be laundered or dry cleaned?
Laundered.
Laundered?
And
Laundered.
let's see if y'all are right. L for laundry. Great job, guys. This cashmere sweater, should this be dry cleaned or laundered?
Dry clean.
Dry clean?
Let's see if y'all are right. D for dry cleaning. Great job, guys.
Looks like it.
Okay. These professional business pants, should they be dry cleaned or laundered?
Dry clean?
Dry
Let's
clean.
see if you're right. D for dry cleaning. Great job, guys. I'm gonna try to trick y'all with some of these since you're getting them all right. These are the hangers we use at the cleaners, just in case y'all were wondering. This silk blouse, laundered or dry cleaned?
Dry clean?
Dry cleaning.
D for dry cleaning. Great job, guys. This black hoodie, dry cleaned or laundry?
Dry clean?
Dry cleaned. You're absolutely right again. Now, these are my corduroy pants that I would never want to get faded. Dry cleaned or laundered?
Dry cleaning.
Dry clean.
Dry clean.
We're all in agreement there? Right again. This white and black silk dress.
Dry clean.
Dry clean.
Now, how do we make sure that the black doesn't bleed on the white? Trick question. Does anyone know the answer?
No.
Maybe put it in a bag?
That's a great idea. Another way we can do it is beforehand, we can steam the black and the white and make sure that the black doesn't bleed on the white. If the black does bleed on the white, I wouldn't risk it and I would just leave it aside and make sure the customer is aware that if you were to dry clean it, it would have bled just so you're safe. So dry cleaning.
Thank you.
This business professional blazer, dry
Dry
cleaned or
clean.
laundry?
Dry clean.
Good job, dry cleaning again. This black polo,
Dry clean.
Dry clean?
I think dry clean.
good job, dry cleaning once again.
Can we launder that or it cannot not be done?
This I wouldn't launder just because you don't want it to fade and get dingy.
So how do people do it at home?
At home, they do a cold water wash, which you could do if you wanted, if you have the time. In this sweater,
Dry clean?
Dry
Dry
clean.
clean.
good job, dry cleaning once again. And this black skirt,
Dry clean?
and I do just want to emphasize that that skirt does have spandex on it. So what do we all think about that one? Dry cleaning or laundry?
Dry clean?
If we launder, what happens?
It will definitely shrink if you launder that. Spandex should never, ever, ever be laundered. I don't know if you know this, but Express has their cotton shirts, but most of them have 2% spandex. So at the cleaners, we always make sure to dry clean them. Yes, it's a little pricier, but in the long run, you don't want your shirts to get shrunk.
Dry.
And these blue jeans that I want with medium starch, what do y'all think do with those?
Laundry?
Laundry.
Laundry? You're absolutely right. And if you do have a preference at the cleaners, you want to ask them if you want a crease or no crease. These days, youngsters like no crease, but you know those old-fashioned people, they love their creases in their pants with their cowboy boots. And our final piece, this men's button-up shirt without spandex. What would you do with this?
Laundry.
Y'all got 100% on that quiz. Great job, everyone. I'm so glad you learned from this dry cleaning and laundry rules presentation. Does anyone have any questions at all?
No, good job.
No, thank you.
Good
Thank
job.
you.
Thank you. We learned quite a bit.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, and this has been Trisha Patel talking about dry cleaning and laundry for the LTEC Summer 2014 class.